Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Ghost of Tsushima video. Today we're gonna check out some of the first things you should go ahead and do right away in your first playthrough. Now, you can still play the way you want to, however, there are some things I recommend getting right away to become a lot more powerful early, but also unlocking some traversal abilities to help you unlock even more cool stuff right away. Starting with the first ones, I suggest immediately jumping into doing the first two story missions, including the Warrior's Code and the Tale of Sensei Ishikawa. The first one, which you will do with Yuna, is going to teach you the assassination mechanic, which is, as I've said in the previous video, one of the strongest in the entire game. Yes, it's going to be a bit more sloppy early on until you, improve your daggers and increase that kill speed, but even so, this is going to be of tremendous help in the stages ahead. Plus, this will lead up to other quests later on that will unlock even more powerful tools. Then you're going to want to go for the Tale of Sensei Ishikawa, which you will follow naturally. This opens up archery, plus gives you the half bow, which is the faster variant of the bow. There's a second one that you can get later on, but even early this can help a ton if you're, for example, pushing for a Tadayori build early. And it's also going to help a ton with those pesky archers that will try to snipe you from very far away. Now, from this point on, you will want to progress naturally in the main story until the 8th mission called the Iron Hook. This is going to bring you back at Komatsu Forge, and this is going to open up that grapple hook, which is going to be of tremendous help. Now you can pretty much explore anywhere, any of the previous shrines that might have been inaccessible or you had difficulties with higher up spots are going to become accessible, as this is going to open up a whole bunch of, well, just exploration for you. Plus, it's very useful in combat, as many camps hold high up places you can actually grapple on and get a better positioning against your enemies. And once you do that, we're going to use it to gain some of the new items you're going to need. So let's get started with one of the first. This actually doesn't need that, but you can go ahead and grab this really awesome charm of Amaterasu, which will heal you on every kill. So it's one of the best, and you get it right here from the Golden Summit Shrine. This doesn't require any grapple hooks. You can go ahead and grab it, maybe even before actually finishing that mission. There are some other alternatives that I also recommend getting. For example, you can get the charm of Mizunokami, which is going to help a ton with parries, and perfect dodge windows. So basically, they will become a lot easier to perform. It's actually part of many endgame builds, and you will get it right here from the Spring Falls Shrine, but you will have to approach from the gate up north. And again, you're not going to need the grapple here. You can just go ahead at the top, grab it, and it's yours. Now, technically, you can replace one of these with the charm of Susano. This is going to make staggered enemies have a 30% chance to be knocked down, which is amazing for the Gosaku build if you go for the Gosaku armor, but that unlocks at the start of chapter 2. You have to grab this from the Stone Dragon Shrine on this side of the map. However, you will need the grapple hook for that, so keep that in mind, but it is one of the strongest in the game, especially for the Gosaku build. Now, technically, there's one more I recommend getting, which you can also do in Act 1, and that is the charm of Inari's Might. This is one of the best in the game, even though it's only a minor charm, providing some very good bonuses to both defenses and especially melee damage. And the best part is that you can actually upgrade this. So first of all, you will unlock this by simply discovering 20 Inari shrines. There are 22 on the starting Izuhara map, so you can actually have plenty enough to go around to grab it in Act 1. And from that point on, the next 4 are going to unlock another charm, which is the Charm of Silence. And from this point on, every 5 additional Inari shrines past 24 will unlock additional levels for both this and the Charm of Silence. So it will actually alternate between the two, one level for each, starting with the Charm of Inari's Might. Of course, this is going to be a longer term goal. For now, it's good enough that you got its minor variant. Of course, you will also need a good armor set, and early on, a very good all-arounder is going to be the Samurai Clan armor. In my opinion, it's the best at this stage until you reach Act 2, and this gives you a very good damage mitigation, increase to health, also lets you gain extra resolve when you get hit, which can happen at this stage, so you will actually make a lot of use out of it. And the best part is that you get it for absolutely free from the Tale of Lady Masako early on. Simply progressing in it eventually brings you to the Golden Temple, and you're going to get it from the armorer for absolutely free. Plus, if you gain some extra resources, you can also go ahead and upgrade this right away. Which, by the way, upgrades in this game also change the armor visually, so it becomes a lot more imposing. It gains more plates in this case to give better protection and whatnot, all the way to rank 3 and then 4. You can also follow Lady Masako's stories up until the 4th one, called The Traitor, during which you're going to get the Charm of Ferocity, so this can help a ton to gain extra damage. But now that you got a bit more powerful, got a good armor set, have some decent survivability and maybe some good skills over there for some damage, it's time to gain a very strong mythical ability called the Heavenly Strike. And this is going to improve your damage so much more. It can one-shot targets, it's almost instant, it strikes fear into enemies' hearts, so it's one of the best in the game, and you can actually unlock this via the Heavenly Strike mythical tail, very close, just outside of that Komatsu forge right here on the side of the map. So you just have to follow this story mission. This is going to put you against a bunch of enemies with a final duel, but I didn't find that too difficult. So yeah, better have this equipment at hand. And during that, you're going to learn that awesome ability. It's very worth it, deals tons of damage. I recommend using this, by the way, once you broke an enemy's defense. If you break an enemy's defense, the following Heavenly Strike is going to guarantee one-shot them no matter what. So do that first and you're pretty much good to go. Now, there's one more thing I recommend doing in the meantime, because one of your biggest bottlenecks right now are going to be the resources, which you will need a ton of to funnel in upgrading your gear. So for that, I recommend going ahead and grabbing the major charm of Inari. That's going to be different than the one of Inari's Might. This one, the major variant, you will get from the Arrow Peak Shrine on the side of the map. You don't need any grapple hook for that. And once you do get it, this is going to be a major charm. And this is going to increase the supplies, predator hides, bamboo, yew wood, and so on from collecting. But it's not just going to increase the resources, it's not even going to double it, it's going to double it and then some. So to give you an example, I collected some of these supplies from the ground. Well, then I got a second entry as if I collected a second batch from the Inari buff. Again, it's going to behave as if you looted another batch of the same items, which has a range from like 4 to 6 and whatnot, but this depends on the item. So whenever you loot, whenever you clear out outposts and go ahead and collect stuff, make sure that you have this equipped. Since you're likely going to be doing this during your exploration moments, I recommend placing this on your traveler attire as one of the major charms, as this is also going to help you unlock more of the map fog and whatnot. And with those loadouts enabled, it's very easy to switch between armor sets when you do the collecting. You will, by the way, get the traveler attire as soon as you finish the starting mission for Ishikawa, so whenever you go back to those springs or whenever you visit any of these vanity item NPCs, the first time you talk with them, they will automatically reward that to you. But it's very worth it to also upgrade, since it reveals a lot of the map fog. Plus, it's also going to help you a ton to discover any points of interest, like for example, banners, hidden artifacts, and so on. Another place worth checking out is going to be the Golden Temple. This is the same place you reach during one of Lady Masako's early missions. But this is actually a place that holds a bunch of stuff. First of all, this is where you will find most, if not all, of the upgrade vendors for your armor, for your weapons and whatnot. I think that the only thing missing is the trapper, but you can find those in smaller settlements too. However, one of the things you want to pay attention to here is going to be this altar almost to the middle. There's going to be an NPC in front of it explaining it. But essentially, every time you increase your legend level, which you can see right here on the corner of the screen, or when you complete missions, this is going to provide you with even more resources and sometimes even very cool cosmetics. So you can gain both supplies and other crafting mats, but also some very awesome masks. So pay attention to these, always try to visit them. Usually they will have a golden icon if there's anything worthy over there. Like for example, you will see the Golden Temple icon with a golden collar if you can claim something from it, or if there's any other upgrades you can perform. And finally, since you're still in Act 1, I recommend checking out the White Dye Merchant, which is actually very close to the Komoda Prefecture. But once you visit this guy, he actually sells a bunch of very cool dyes that give you the color white for various armors in there. Like the Traveler Attire one is definitely one of my favorite, but there are other armors in there that also have variants. For this, you will need, of course, flowers, so that's why I recommend always grabbing flowers in the field, not just the other resources for crafting. They are very needed. There's tons of very awesome dyes. There's also a black dye merchant in Act 2 that you can then gain some black armor dyes in there that look very awesome, but this one still at early stage can help a ton with a bit of armor diversity. Now, besides unlocking those Inari shrines, which also help with unlocking additional charm slots for your character, I also recommend paying attention to the bamboo strike locations. These are 3-stage minigames, very easy to complete by just pressing the buttons in the right order, which is then going to provide extra resolve. Resolve are some of these bubbles that are basically your special resource that you use for special abilities like Heavenly Strike, but also for healing. So the more you have, the more you can cast them, the more healing you can get, so better survivability and better damage. Always try to complete them no matter what, they are definitely worth it. Now, there's technically also a second mythical tale that you can complete, which is the Legend of Tadayori. This will give you that Tadayori armor set. Now, in the end game, this is one of the strongest in the game. It's going to give you a ton of damage, has a very unique playstyle, but unfortunately, you're not going to be able to achieve the full potential of it at this stage in the game. It's still a very good option to consider if you want to test out full-on range builds, or at least builds that focus a bit more on range capabilities via the short bow and the long bow. Plus, its main quest is also very fun and has a very cool duel in a very special spot. So yeah, definitely do that too if you want to, but you can totally skip on this and keep it for at least chapter 2 as you're about to transition into chapter 3. Anyway, that is about it with the video. Thanks so much for watching. Totally check out some of the others I made, including some of the biggest beginner tips if you started playing, and I'll see you in the next video.